is the introduction to strategy presentation. I am hoping that you guys will ask me some questions during this. I know that that may be a lot to ask of you, but I hope that you guys will engage a little bit. I have a stoppage every like 3 or 4 slides just to see if there are any questions. If you come across a question as I'm talking and you want to leave it in the chat, I will get to those during those breakage times. But other than that, we can hop right into it. All right, so a little bit about me for you guys who don't know me. This is sort of like everything you need to know about me on one slide. So my name is Sean Stevens. I have a master's degree in electrical engineering. I live with my parents. This is their basement. Ta-da. I work as a project engineer at a company called ASI Drives, which is actually, they started as a small gear company. They basically make like wheel drives for small vehicles. And we developed this robot called Fred, who you can see right here. And Fred is basically just like a rolling table that follows magnetic tape. And I do all the electrical and programming work on that robot. And I play lots and lots of video games, of which the top 5 are probably League of Legends, Guild Wars 2, Valorant, Pokemon, and Terraria. So if you guys play those games, let me know. We can talk about them. And my robotics experience, I was a rookie on Miss Daisy in 2009, and I graduated in 2012. This is a picture of me from 2012 right there, just so you know, I was there. I was on the electrical sub team, as well as being driver in 2011 and operator in 2012. And I was a founding mentor of the FLL program that I know a lot of you guys went through in the middle school. I officially became a Miss Daisy mentor in 2014, and I became the drive coach in 2015. And then in 2016, we started the strategy sub team, and in 2018, I started working on build also. Actually, I'm gonna move this. So, because I keep looking over here. All right, so the purpose of this presentation is to conceptually introduce like our competition and like how the competition works, and then understand why the strategy of our competition is important. So first of all, the competition structure, and I know this is kind of abstract. It doesn't really have anything to do with strategy, but it's important to understand this before we get into it. So we exist in what is called the FMA district, which is this red box right here. And how a district model works is every team is going to play at 2 district events, and then they'll qualify through points to attend their own district championship. And then each district championship has a certain number of slots. FMA last year had 21 slots. And then the teams with the most points will go to the World Championship until these 21 slots are filled. In a bigger district, like the Michigan district, they actually follow exactly the same model. Every team plays 2 events, then they go to the district championship. But they're so big that they have 87 slots compared to our 21 slots. Again, these are last year's numbers. I don't know what it is this year.
Sean?
Yeah.
Did you want questions from chat brought up now or at the break points?
I was going to do them at the break points.
Okay.
But we can do this one now. That 21 slots does include chairman's and rookie all-star and all the qualifying awards.
And Hall of Fame as well. I didn't think Hall of Fame was in there.
Kier, do you know the answer to that? Do we don't take away a slot from FMA because we're Hall of Fame, right?
I don't think we do.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
We take a slot going to the FMA championship.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So, like I said, district championship, the only way for a district team to qualify for the World Championship is to earn enough points in their district events, go to their district championship, earn enough points, go to the World Championship. So points in this system are earned based on your rank, how highly you were picked in the order, how well you did in playoffs, and any kind of awards that you get. The Chairman's Award, which is regarded as the highest award, automatically qualifies you for the next level. So if you win the Chairman's Award at a district, you're automatically going to the district championship. If you win it at the district championship, you're automatically going to champs. Doesn't matter how good your robot is, nothing else matters. The next part of the structure that a lot of the competition still exists in is the regional model. And this is sort of like a more simplified version of the district model, where if you don't have enough teams in a compact area, you can create a region where basically like the Las Vegas regional or the Midwest regional or the Hawaii regional here operate very similarly to how a district championship would operate, except that it's not based on points, it's based only on qualifying awards. So you go to this event and you compete, and then if you earn one of these qualifying awards, then congratulations, you are allowed to move on to the World Championship. And those are regional winners. So if you're one of the 3 teams that wins, if you win the Chairman's Award, Engineering Inspiration, Rookie All-Star, or if you manage to snag a wild card. And what a wild card would be is if one of the teams that wins one of these awards has already qualified for championships, then it goes to the next highest ranked team. So if all the teams on the winning alliance have already qualified for Worlds, then basically the finalist alliance all qualifies. Does that make sense? All right, so what does that mean for us? How do we fit into this? Because we're Hall of Fame, and thank you guys for asking about this, we automatically qualify for this, the World Championship. We do not automatically qualify for this, the district championship. And actually in 2019, we were the final team on the list to qualify for the district championship. I believe we actually declined that invitation, right? Yeah. So that's actually kind of a big advantage because we get the reduced cost and additional playing in a district, but we don't have to worry about like having to struggle and fight our way to champs because we know we're going to be there, right? And that's a pretty big advantage because you can design your strategy around like what's the game going to be at the highest level and not worry about like how you get there. Yeah. So anybody have any questions so far?
Do you want them in the chat or just ask them?
If you come up with them while I'm talking, you can put them in chat, but if now you can just ask.
So can you go over like district wildcards and how that works with the district system aside from the regional wildcards?
Sure. So the district system doesn't really have wildcards. Basically, like everything you do in the district model, you get points for, right? So every time you win a match, you get 2 points. Every time where you rank gives you points. Like if you rank second, you get a certain amount of points. If you rank first, you get a certain amount of points, right? And then based on where you get picked, so if you're like the 20th overall pick, you don't get that many points. But if you're like the 2nd overall pick, then you get a lot of points. And also awards are basically like a flat 5 points. So
Isn't it like that lottery though? Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like the lottery for Worlds?
I think that's separate outside
Yeah.
of the district model. You
Okay.
can enter into the lottery, any team can, and then they might get picked.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you want it, yeah, there's certain slots at the World Championship that don't automatically get filled through this system. So like there's a lottery for filling those for the teams that want to go. So a lot of the times you don't have to qualify, but you can get it. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, we're going to move on. If you come up with any questions, type them in the chat if I'm still talking, or if it's about to be a question slide, then you can just ask me. So that kind of leads into who is the competition that plays at these events? You know, like who do we have to go up against? And you guys will have to forgive me, I'm using this slide from 2019 because 2020 didn't really happen, and I don't know whose robot is good. So in 2019, these are 3 robots that I thought exemplified the top end of our competition. TechFire, Team 225, is the first Mid-Atlantic powerhouse team. They absolutely decimate everybody every year. They have won our district championship in 2015, 16, 18, and 19. So, you know, it'd be silly to count them out. And this robot is actually crazy. It's this double jointed arm on an elevator, and they make it look like it's the smoothest thing you've ever seen. Next, team 2056 OP Robotics. They are part of the Canadian Super Bromance with another team called 1114 that you will hear about more in the future as we do these strategy sessions. But these guys build robots that are practically perfect in every way. They're simple, they're effective, and they compete at the highest level. These guys have never actually won the World Championship, but they've been extremely close many times. And then the last one is Team 254, the Cheesy Poofs, who are arguably the strongest team in the world right now. They were world champions in 2011, 14, 17, and 18. So that's 4 world championships in 10 years, which is pretty crazy. Because how many teams are there in the competition? Like 3,000 teams in the competition. So for one team to win that many times in such a short span is actually unbelievable.
Coming close like a couple other times as well.
Yeah, and they've been finalists like 3 times out of the remaining 6. But our average competition looks a lot more like this robot. A lot of teams, you know, have a hard time really like understanding the competition and really understanding what they want their robot to do. So they end up competing with a robot that's basically just able to move and maybe has like one additional function. So this is a 2016 robot. This robot actually won a district event in our district because they actually played very well around their one function here and used their intake to really like steal balls and score balls, and it was actually really, really nice. But you know, this is obviously not the level of these guys. All right, so I wanted to show you guys what some FRC matches look like because we're talking a lot about robots and we're talking like everybody here knows what like we're talking about, but I'm not sure that we all do. So I just want to make us get all on the same page. So I'm going to play 2 matches here. The first one is actually us from last season because we got to play. And the other one is 2 of the best teams in the world from last season so that you guys understand a little bit of like the difference.
Go.
Finals match 1.
All right, so this is from the Hapro Horsham district here in First Mid-Atlantic. This robot right here with the extremely bright lights on the back, that is us. We are on the Red Alliance right now, which is made up of Team 365 Mo and Team 5895 Petty Robotics from the Petty School in New Jersey. If you're just going to watch us, we have been assigned to play defense in this match because our robot was not working great. So basically, we just try to shut down 2607 while our partners score all the points. But you can see that the robots are trying to cycle these yellow balls from their human player station, which are here and here. And they're trying to bring them down the field and then shoot them into these high goals. Ours is over here.
365, the miracle workers loading up at their loading station, looking to get another round themselves into their port. As over in the blue trench, it's 33-14. Mechanical Mustangs firing off a couple shots into that outer port. It's neck and neck in this match as we have 71 seconds left. Petty School Robotics shooting off a couple shots into that outer port as Miss Daisy looking to feed their alliance partners. Mo taking 1, 2, 3.
So I just want to point out there's about 50 seconds left and the score of our alliance is about 90. So we're going to juxtapose that to what we're about to watch. So keep that in mind. So at the end of the match here, all the robots are going to congregate in the middle and try to hang on this giant coat hanger looking thing that is right here. You can see Mo already has their hooks up. Petty's putting their hooks up now. And we're going to come and try to take some shots.
Mo's up in the air. Can Petty join them? Blue Lions waiting to hang as 33-14 goes for it. Oh no. We're looking at some trouble as we count down to 3, 2, 1.
All right, so that was what our matches look like. Watching it again, it looked better when we were there. And here is what,
3, 2, 1, go.
and here's what you could consider like an extremely high level match. Here you're going to be looking at the Red Alliance. These are the two of the Texas powerhouse teams. These guys are the Robo-Knots, and these are the Robo-Wranglers.
As we start the driver control portion of finals match number 2, it's a 61-39 lead for the Red Alliance. Here comes 148 lining up close next to the Blue Alliance's driver station, sending a few balls up high for the Red Alliance. Red has already completed their first stage. They need 11 more to complete stage number 2. In their second quarterfinal.
So you'll
match,
see
they
these
need to
guys are
complete
back here
all three
loading
stages.
from their
Let's
human
see
player
if they can
station,
do it
and
again
they're going to
here
run the balls
in
across the
finals
field
match
and
number
score 'em.
2. Here comes Paradox, 54-14 on the far side of the field with some power cells trying to feed them back over to Fusion Core over on the blue scoring side of the field. Here comes 148 scoring another power cell. 118 scoring 3 for the Red Alliance. Red now needing 2 power cells to complete their second stage. 2 shots going way off. A couple shots going in by the Robo Wranglers. Now 111 to 62. And there goes the last power cell needed to complete the Red Alliance's second stage. 118 spinning that color wheel up on the near side of the field. Fusion Core hunting for more power cells. Here comes 148. Sending another volley of shots.
So you'll
in.
see it.
Red
There's
now
60
needing
seconds left
16
in this
power
match,
cells
and the
with
Red
a
Alliance
minute
is at
left
like
to
140.
complete their third stage.
So they're like 50 points higher than we were
118
in
to
the same time.
148 double teaming that Red Alliance power port. Red now needing 12 power cells to complete their third stage. 145 to 67 coming up on 45 seconds left to go. Paradox and Fusion Core trying to have a little robot makeout session here on the far side of the field. Paradox trying to expel some power cells from their robot and into Fusion Core. There goes 148 and 118 up high again. 2 power cells needed in order to complete their third stage. 148 trying to do it. 22 seconds left to go. There's 3 power cells in. 118 now trying to spin the color wheel to blue in order to complete their third stage for the second time in this event. There it goes. 3 complete stages.
So now they're going
for
to
the Red
hang.
Alliance. 8 seconds left. Can we get a double climb out of the Red Alliance? Up they go. 2 red robots up in balance. 198 to 71 is our score, not including climb, as the buzzer.
All right. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a difference in level there. So that's sort of like just to give you a feeling of like what the top level of our competition looks like. Keep in mind this is in week 1, so it's going to get better than that throughout the season. But yeah, so that's what a match looks like, and how we play last year's game, just at a high level. All right. So another questions check it. Anybody have any questions? Questions? Anybody?
Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
You keep mentioning these different regions. Can you talk more about the geography first?
Yeah, I can. I don't have a slide for that, but I don't know. Let me
There are
just
2
pull up
regions
like.
in the rest, Cali and Michigan.
All right, here we go. We'll find the cheesiest map of the United States
Doesn't
that
have
we can
Canada
get.
though. Oh, there's Canada. Okay.
Here we go. This is America right here. So there is a huge population of teams in Michigan, and that is largely in part due to the auto manufacturers that are in Michigan. There is a huge population of really good teams in California. There's a really big population of good teams in the Washington, Oregon area, Texas. Florida has several really good teams. Hawaii has a couple really good teams. And there's a lot of like good teams along the East Coast. Not so many that like absolutely blow it out of the water like California and Michigan do, but very, very competitive teams on the East Coast. Up here in New England, there are many world-class teams there as well. The New England district is basically like all of this. The Mid-Atlantic district is all of this. New York is not in a district. Michigan has its own district. There's one in Indiana. There's one in Georgia, I think. North and South Carolina might have one.
I believe they do.
Texas has one. California has been arguing over whether or not they want one for a long time. And Washington and Oregon have one. And almost the rest of the entire country is still in regionals. Yeah, so that is a little bit of the geography at first. Oh, also Canada is really good. Most of the really good Canadian teams are right here above Michigan, which, you know, surprising. But there are some from all over, and there's a Canadian district, which is actually really big and really competitive. And lots of new teams are coming up and being really good in Canada. So yeah, good question, Krusky.
Outside of the US and Canada, what is the most competitive area?
It's probably Israel.
Yeah, I
Israel's,
agree.
Israel's really good. Australia has a couple good teams too.
They have one good team.
There are several teams from Europe that are quite good. I think one of the 2019 champions was from the Netherlands. So yeah, they're all over. China is actually growing as well. Most of the teams from the Chinese robots end up looking something like this at the moment because they're still building the infrastructure for how the program is going to go. But quite good, quite good. Okay, so we're going to move on. Actually, does anybody have any questions anymore? All right, we'll move on. So ultimately, what determines who wins, right? And the answer to that is strategy as an overarching umbrella of strategy, right? All right, I'm going to go out of order. So strategy I define, me. This is not a dictionary definition. This is a me definition. I define strategy as a plan or process that leverages the available resources in pursuit of the best possible outcome. So it doesn't guarantee the best possible outcome, but it pursues it. And it is trying to use as much of what it has to get it, right? So understanding our resources a little bit. Every team has different resources, and those resources really shape how that team makes a decision. So I figured I should just talk to you guys about like what our resources are, so that you guys can understand why we make the decisions that we make. So here's a brief little summary of the different resources that we have access to. So mentor, students, build space, money, sponsors, practice space, experience, build schedule, training, help from other teams, and mental health. And we'll talk a little bit about them. I think we have super passionate and dedicated mentors. We're located in one of the best public schools in the state, so we have really, really good students. The Fab Lab has actually increased our build space dramatically from what we used to have. For those of you guys who've never worked in not the Fab Lab, our old shop was like a third of that size. We exist in a state of having enough money, but not as much as we want to have. I don't think we had any major sponsor change this year, and we're applying for more grants. We use NO3 as our practice space. If you sum up all of our experience, we have a lot, probably over hundreds of years. The coronavirus is kind of messing up our build schedule at the moment, so I don't really know what kind of like time we're going to have to build. So that one's kind of a question mark. We're literally training right now, so getting a good start on that one. We have plenty of help offers from other teams. Some are listed here for practice space, as well as several teams offering machining help if we need it. And then mental health obviously is individual, but from my sense, and after the last year, I get the sense that that could be better than it is now. Yeah. So what does the game strategy team do? Right, I'm gonna actually talk about strategy now. So, so the game challenges that they give us, right? So when we see this game, right, they don't show us the, all of this. You don't see what the score is. You don't see who's going to build what. You just see like what the game is and what the tasks are that you're supposed to do. Right. So the role of the strategy team is really to analyze that game right off the bat and pick out the parts that matter. Right. So how do you get points? How do you get ranking points? What does an alliance need? And there's all kinds of things like that, like how do we fit with our partners, and can we pull off strategies like this or like that? And eventually we go back and forth for a long time, and we end up deciding on a list of requirements for the robot, right? And this is really the big deliverable of the strategy team. And that is that like your robot must do these things in order to be competitive, right? And this is where like the resources that we just talked about start to come into play, right? So because we know what our limits are through our resources, we are able to figure out which things or which challenges we can tackle and which challenges we can't tackle, right? And our goal is to maximize the potential of our team, but not exceed our resources, because then we'll end up biting off more than we can chew and having a problem. As the season goes on, the strategy team will provide strategic insight, because the build team is ultimately going to have to make some compromises. Only maybe like one time has everything gone like exactly how we thought it was going to go. So there's always going to be compromises, and it's important that the strategy team is always grounded in that, because that's really where like your conceptual, like this is how the robot works, comes from. So you want to make sure you don't stray too far from that. And then at events, we look to understand the strengths and weaknesses of our opponents. We build match strategies with our alliance at an event, and we analyze our personal play and how we can improve. So as a summary of strategy, the strategy team provides a conceptual basis for why we're doing something, right? Because, yeah. So it's easy to conceptually picture a robot that's like perfect and plays the game really, really well and shoots the balls out at hyper speed and hangs instantly. But doing all that stuff doesn't always fit inside of every team's available resources, right? So like I said before, it's all about getting as much as you can in there without going past your upper limit. And that's why being honest about what you're capable of is really, really important. And this is something we struggle with all the time. So we think that like we could do that, or that we think more highly of ourselves than we really are. And a lot of the times that ends up biting us. It's hard to tell if it did that this year or not, but in 2019, it definitely did. So it's just something to always think about. And also, I wanted to just put this point in here that like the strategy is a really good equalizer, right? Because everyone can contribute to the strategy discussion, regardless of your experience or your expertise or what part of the team you work on or anything like that. Like you can have 100 years of strategy experience and be wrong, and that is the best part for me, right? It's because like I'm not the right one. Jonathan's not the right one. We all find it together, because it takes all of us. All right, another question slide. Questions from anybody? Okay, we're gonna move on. All right, so I think there's only a couple slides left. So strategy ultimately determines how we're going to use our resources to best pursue the best possible outcome, right? And like I said before, honest evaluation of resources, because aiming high does not always help you get far, right? And to help me out with that, I have this great projectiles diagram. So our 2015 season, which as you hang out is notoriously bad, right? So it's more of like a dropping it directly projectile, right? It goes straight down. You never reach any heights. You're just right to the ground. Our 2019 robot is sort of like trying to throw a ball straight up in the air, right? Like you shoot really, really high, right? But you don't really get that far. You get no distance. Even though you shot for all this, you get nothing. And then some of our better robots, like 2012, 2016, 2018, we aimed just a little bit lower, and that let us throw it a whole heck of a lot further, right? In much more of a nice projectile parabola motion. 2020 is hard to tell which one of these it was going to be, but I can tell you that it's not this. So that's a good place to start. For you rookies and people who don't know about our robot, not starting here is really, really good. All right. So you can't really change your build resources once the season starts, right? Because it all happens so fast, right? But that's why the strategy has to be designed to work within them, right? Because, you know, like if you don't have a tool, you're not going to get it just so that you can produce a part, you know, because the timing doesn't work out like that. Yeah. And then historically, all of our team's success really has come from making strong strategic choices and then executing really well. And a lot of that happens because we build something extremely simple that's able to, you know, repeatably nail a task. And it's all about knowing where your limit is, right? And yeah, so several times we've gone past that limit with our resources, right? We did it in 2015, we did it in 2017, we did it in 2019. And ultimately that ends up biting us and we perform relatively poorly in those seasons. Yeah, and we have defeated teams that have way more resources than we do. And we have also lost to teams that have way less resources than we do. And that's, you know, all because of the strategy that you focus on and how you use the resources that you have. So yeah, it all pivots around robot strategy and how you analyze the game and come up with what you want to do. All right, so that's it. That's the whole presentation. So does anybody have any questions? We can take questions about anything. We have a couple minutes here.
Sean, can you go over what made the 2015, 17, and 19 seasons, what went wrong in the strategy decisions, not the mechanical, but what went wrong that the strategy team could have changed?
Yeah.
Also, I've never seen this graphic. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh, you use it like every year.
I think the first time I did this graphic was last year, actually.
I
So
was
that your
probably like off doing media.
competitive mentality. It was a competitive mentality, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know, but I love this graphic because it like so accurately portrays what happened. So 2015, actually, I thought we had a really good start. Like we identified that like you want to build the stack. So actually, let me bring up 2015.
You can just show a picture. I don't even think you need the video.
I think you
Yeah,
should
yeah.
try to explain the game or something.
Yeah, I just want to get everybody on the same page.
There's some really good finals matches out there.
Yeah, I don't want to watch a match. I just want to look at our robot. Okay, so can you guys see this? See this monstrosity here?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, let me see if I can get it bigger. Yeah, there we go.
As for rookies, the size restraints were much different than normal. It's extremely tall and wide, and it's a mess.
Yeah, so the goal this year was you stack up all these boxes, right? And then you have to put this trash can on top. And it's basically like an actual trash can, like the one that you see around in school, the big round ones. And they go on top of totes, like big totes. They're like this big. So you have to stack up 6 of these things and then put a trash can on top of it and then deliver it to a platform to score points. And basically like these rails, when we initially built this robot, were this tall. They went all the way up here. But then we realized that we couldn't fit that robot inside of our crate that we had. So we cut it in half. And what that meant is that we couldn't actually control the trash can because our robot was too small, right? So we couldn't build a stack that was the full size. And we really like it. If you couldn't build a stack that was the full size, you really weren't competitive at all, like at all. So we ended up becoming sort of just like a tote specialist that just stacked up totes and then hoped other people would put cans on top. We were also really bad at picking up the can. Like these arms, while actually pretty good at intaking the totes, were really bad at intaking a can. So we ended up just getting bodied. And So I had a slide where I say that the strategy team provides strategic insight as the build team has to make compromises. This was where we failed in 2015 because I think we had a good start. No, it was, Adam. It just couldn't fit in upright. It had to go in down. So we did not provide good insight or really make a good list of requirements. Also, you will notice that the strategy subteam began in 2016, right? So this is really what we identified as where our issue came from, is that we didn't have anybody overseeing why we're doing what we're doing. Yeah, and then 2017 and 2019 were more of just like a classic overextension. You know, like we thought we had more than we did, and we weren't able to pull it off.
Would you point fingers in 2017 at the turret and 2019 at the elevator?
No, not specifically. I think in 2017 it would have been smarter to just not do balls at all.
Yeah, I
Like,
think that was an overreach.
yeah, like I think like if you look at here, I'm going back to the Blue Lions. Like if you look at this robot
10, 11, yeah, I was just about to say.
from 2017, this robot is a world champion, right? It's got basically like the best possible gear manipulator right here. So basically in 2017, the goal was to put these gears, these like yellow gears like this,
Plastic, yeah.
onto these pegs. And basically you got like 400 points if you put 12 of them on. And that was a lot of points. That's a lot of points. And then the balls were worth like a third of a point each. So like basically
Balanced.
like these, so these guys realize that like there's no reason why we need to store balls. Like the game is the gears, and we'll leave the ball scoring to the robots that are really, really, really good, right? Because somebody's got to do it, but it doesn't have to be us. And then these guys end up getting picked by one of those robots that's really, really, really good because they're the best gear robot in the game, and the gears are really, really, really important. And then they win the world championship. So I think, you know, that's a really, really hard decision to make, but I think that's what we probably should have done in 2017.
I think 2017, we also had a lot of other issues that were not related to strategy.
I agree.
I think that we could have made the same strategic decision and executed it better.
Yeah, I think our fabrication was off as well. Like we didn't execute well, but definitely strategically there were things we made mistakes on.
So then what would you say was the thing that you would pinpoint as the strategic mistake in 2019?
So that one's a little bit harder, right? Because like
That's why I asked.
because so I'll show you guys our robot from 2019. Did we put a picture up? Yes, we did. Not one with the arm down. So basically this arm lowered and then the ball came up through the back and into this scoring thing. And then that went up and scored. And we also could carry the hatch like this. But then if you look at this robot from 2019, who ended up being a world champion, by the way, this thing comes down, ball goes up into here, they score that this way, also carries the hatch, right? So like conceptually, same robot.
Yeah, the
You know?
identical design, just a different drive base and looks cooler.
Yeah, I mean, it's more reliable than ours was, certainly. It's better programmed than ours was. It drove better than ours did. You know, basically like largely this one is about execution and slight overreach, right? Like, I don't think this is a robot that we should have gone for. And I'm not exactly sure what we should have done differently, but I think that we just tried to do too much.
Would you rather we gone for an approach similar to 973 of only having a 2-level robot rather than a 3? Or go straight up as like a 2910 robot is where we just do the lower levels and focus on the climb?
No, I don't think either of those is the answer. I think we would have selected to go 3 levels, but I just think the passing through or something like that was more of an issue. I'm trying to think of a robot that I would like from that year, but I can't really think of one right now. So sorry. Just basically
like
like
a 3310 design of just an elevator and then one intake and then they have a climb and that's it.
Yeah, actually that's a good example. Yeah. just like 33-10. Here, I'll pull that one up. These guys were finalists in the World Championship. So basically, like, they have one thing here that is a combo of both types of intakes on one elevator, and they just have a climber on the back. Super simple, knocks it all out of the park, super fast. Yeah.
You can like
I
look
think-
at it though, like it looks so much simpler than the blue one. Like
Yeah. So I think that's probably where we should have gone. So
I'm in a meeting right now. Cool.
all right. Any other questions? That was kind of a long question. We're kind of running out of time.
What are we doing on the strategy team next week, Sean?
Glad you asked, Kieran. So next week,
Wow, that's amazing.
um,
Fun.
so next week we're going to do some strategy exercises to try to get you guys thinking strategically. Because today I just like talked a lot. So hopefully next week we can go through some exercises and start to understand what are the factors that help make these decisions. And I think it's still going to mostly be me talking a lot, but hopefully we'll be a little more fun and interesting. Yeah, we're going to do this for 2 weeks. So next week will be just like basic stuff. And then the week after that is going to be like more advanced, tough stuff. But it's not going to be like FRC. It's going to be like general strategy. So yeah,
like problem solving rather than just like
it's going to be like more like game theory, like if my opponent does this, I do this kind of things. I actually haven't fully figured out what it is yet, but we'll get there.
That sounds cool.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Cool. All right, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you all you guys for sitting here.
Looks like Scott is getting set up. All right, so yeah, if anyone wants to take a break, we'll be back at 8 with the photography 1 / intro to media / what projects are we doing. So goodbye for now.